Welcome to the Just Baseball Show. It is Sunday, April 12th. Thank you to everybody joining us here live on YouTube. Aram, get those fingers ready because it's time for the weekend Roundup, where we go through every game that was over the past weekend. But I want to start with a little bit of college baseball. But before that, it's all brought to you by BetMGM. Now, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code JustBaseball when signing up, and you will get up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Just download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code JustBaseball. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And if that bet loses, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Remember, that's code JustBaseball to unlock it all. Aram, you spent some time at the Masters this weekend.
That was cool. Cool bucket list item. Really lucky to be able to go there. A lot of walking. So that feel like I'm in great shape now. And the food is awesome. So you just kind of eat all of the amazing food. It's like $2-3 sandwiches. And so you don't feel that bad about yourself because then you walk 1 trillion miles, and then you eat more amazing sandwiches. It's a really cool experience. I'd never I watched it on TV. You could see how beautiful it is. What we were talking about before we hit record, appreciating how impossible the courses are. Also how perfectly manicured they are. It's like they use little scissors from preschool on every blade. It's the craziest thing ever. I just will remember that forever. And I hope to go back because it's a pretty special experience. And Rory was just dialed, just following him for holes. That was really cool.
Well, incredibly eventful weekend. Rory McIlroy, winner of the Masters, and we have plenty of Major League Baseball to talk about. But one of the coolest stories from the weekend, Landon Hairston out of Arizona State, son of Scott Hairston. You might remember him. I think he spent some time with the Nationals, some time with the Padres, 106 career MLB home runs. Well, his son has 23 home runs. In 37 games for Arizona State. He just tied Barry Bonds' ASU home run record. He's hitting a home run about once every 6 at-bats right now, which means he is on pace to beat Charlie Condon's BB Core home run record in college baseball. So back in 2011, the bats switched, right? They used to be these thunder sticks that you could hit 40 home runs. That's why some college seasons are out of this world. But since 2011, they switched the bats over, and we've had incredible seasons. Again, Charlie Condon for Georgia in 2024 hitting 37 jacks. But what makes Landon Hairston's season so unbelievable is that even though Condon hit 433, even though he put up a 1565 OPS, one of the greatest college seasons of all time, Hairston has a better batting average. He's hitting over 450, and he's got an OPS close to 1600. He's got more doubles. Well, not quite. He actually has 16 doubles compared to Condon, who had 20 over a full season, right? He's got 16 in 37 games. That's why he's slugging over 1,000. And I think the coolest thing about this is Condon is 6'5", 220, built to hit nukes. Hairston is 5'11". He only hit 4 home runs this year. This is a fever dream. Unbelievable from him.
Yeah, to go from 4 home runs to 23 already is outrageous. And I'm looking at even the batted ball data and everything. 89% zone contact rate, 85% overall contact rate. So beneath the hood, he's not whiffing at all either. The spray chart, he's really gets into a pull side, but he's able to spray the ball to all fields. It's exciting. I'm eager to see, what the draft outlook is going to look like after a season like this and, going into next year. And obviously this guy's a dog. He's slugging over 1,000. So, I think the BB Core bats were absolutely atrocious when they first introduced them, and then they've gotten better.
Yes.
And now I don't know how to compare it all, but this doesn't matter. This is just unbelievable numbers. And the last thing I'll mention is he's slugging over 1,000 against fastballs, basically 1,000 against breaking balls, and slugging 833 against changeups. So I don't know how you get this guy out right now.
Because it's one thing to beat a home run record. It's another thing to have an all-around incredible season, right? He's already got 8 stolen bases. Actually, I think he might have 9. He's been doing everything for ASU. Like I'm thinking about Jack Caglione for Florida, Ivan Melendez for Texas, Bren Spillane for Illinois. Don't sleep on him. In 2018, hit 390 with like 23 jacks at a 1,400 OPS, or even dating back to 2013 with Chris Bryant for San Diego. Like this season from Landon Hairston is as good of a college baseball season as we have ever seen. And we're off to a great start this MLB season. I have 10 series. You have 5. You're going to end with your 5 because you also have some Sunday night baseball, which we are recording right now. Again, thank you to everybody joining us here live on YouTube. The best way to support these live streams, make sure you just smash the like button and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on audio, actually don't do it yet. Don't give us a 5-star review unless you love the weekend roundup. Let's start with Pirates versus Cubs. Game 1, Pirates win 2-0. It was an elite pitcher's duel early as Shota Imanaga exited after 6 no-hit innings with 9 strikeouts, and Carmen Mlodzinski went 5+ innings of scoreless baseball. This game was decided in the 7th as Brian Reynolds went yard for the 3rd time this season, scoring O'Hearn, and that was all Pittsburgh needed. We moved to game 2. Pirates win 4-3 in 11 innings. They got out to a 3-0 lead after 3 innings, but the Cubs clawed all the way back. Braxton Ashcraft, though, looks great out of the gate. He looked great here. 5 innings, 1 run ball, 9 strikeouts. But the Cubs had some fight. Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Bregman singled up the middle to tie the game. And then we get to the 11th inning where Brandon Lowe came up in the 11th again and dribbled one back to Caleb Thielbar, who threw it away. And that ended up being the winning run. And now Cubs fans are pissed. This has been a bad stretch. But luckily, Sunday was a lot better. But not early. Pirates got out to a 5-0 lead after 2 on a solo shot from O'Neal Cruz, and then Brandon Lau ripped a grand slam. But similarly to yesterday, Cubs battled, and this time they got the last laugh. Dansby and Ballesteros homered, and going into the 8th, it was 6-4 Pirates. Michael Busch stepped up to pinch hit with 2 runners on and blooped a single to score 2, snapping his 0-for-30 stretch. Then in the bottom of the 9th with the bases loaded, Carson Kelly smacked one to center to score the winning run. So thankfully for Cubs fans everywhere, they did not get swept. I saw some wild videos. Cubs fans ready to throw in the towel on the season. And I understand they've been battered by injuries. The offense hadn't shown up. But maybe this last game, coming back down 5, could be that jolt to get them back on track.
Crazy Jameson Tyone stat line, by the way.
Yes.
6 innings, 6 earned, 10 Ks.
Yeah.
I love those. I love the 5+ earned double-digit K outings.
The wind was blowing out straight to like center field, wind gusts of 35 miles an hour. Every fly ball was a homer, but knowing the Pirates, they also whiff a ton. So it was either a homer or a strikeout. It was a pretty entertaining game.
I will say that the Pirates are playing ball, man.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch. And, even like Mlodzinski giving them some good outings, even though it's not like the sexiest stat line. He seems to just always give them a shot to win so far this year. Nick York, the guy that's kind of earned himself an opportunity here. I'm a Nick York believer. I think he can be a really good super utility piece. And the Pirates need that because there's going to be different spots where you're going to want to plug York throughout the season. And I think he fits a perfect, role for them. This team, I'm just, it's early, but I'm just enjoying watching them and seeing Brandon Lau do what he's doing and like really meet the expectation. Like they needed Brandon Lau to be a 30 home run bat, and he's very much on pace to be a 30+ home run bat. I don't know. This is a fun team. And the craziest part is like Marcell Ozuna has been quite literally useless.
Like, he's the worst hitter in baseball to start the year.
Worst player, if you think about it, because he's a DH who's the worst hitter in baseball. So I'll just go worst player.
And the Pirates, they just want to put him in the 5-hole in the lineup. They want to put him right in the middle and just see if anything's going to click. But to be fair to Marcell Ozuna, I think he started slow last season and then kind of kicked it in gear, even though it was a down year. But this just looks horrible. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
And so you hope he gets going. And if he gets going, I mean, that really elevates this offense. And, Connor Griffin's going to finally settle in, whether it takes a month or 2, whatever it is, he's going to settle in.
I don't know. I think I'm out on him.
It's over.
I've seen like 10 games.
He got paid and it's over.
Yeah. Once in a couple of years, when he's able to drink a beer, maybe then I'll start thinking that he's good. But this 19-year-old, these teenagers.
Yeah, it's not it. But
So
that's all I got on the Pirates side. And then the Cubs, like, I think big to avoid the sweep just with the way things feel like they're mounting, even though it's so early in the season. And you saw the emotion when they came back there. I mean, Dansby just screaming, fired up. Like, you don't really – he's usually pretty even keel, especially this early in the season. I think the Cubs really wanted to avoid that sweep at home and, hopefully can get them going a little bit here despite all the adversity.
So I have a question for you. The train is leaving the station. We have one ticket left, and I'm offering you that ticket, and I'm only going to ask for like a $20, $30 Venmo. Do you want to come on board the O'Neill Cruz bandwagon train with me? O'Neill Cruz is hitting .339 with an OPS over 1,000. He's the only player with at least 5 homers and 5 steals, but that doesn't even do him justice because he has 6 of them. On Saturday, he hit at least 3 balls, at least 113 miles an hour. Only 11 times has that been done in the StatCast era. He's done 3 of them. Now, Aram, I know he's not the greatest defender in the world, but God damn it, I love him. I love him so much. This is like one of the most entertaining players to watch in Major League Baseball. So this is your final warning. The train is leaving. Do you want a ticket or should I give it to somebody else?
I'm definitely believing more. I am believing more. His at-bats just are better. But
I need a definitive statement on April 12th for the rest of the season.
Yeah, give that ticket to someone who wants it more.
Come on.
Look, I would happily go and I'll cruise on the ride, but there's someone out there who wants that ticket more than I do.
Yeah. You know what? I'll take up 2 seats.
Yeah.
I'll take up 2 seats.
Yeah, give me more space. Get comfortable, man.
I felt like I was yelling into the void this offseason. This is the year of O'Neill Cruz, and you're going to see it, Arm.
It looks a lot better. It does look a lot better. We'll see.
Have you seen him? He's pulling fly balls in the air a lot. And you know what that happens when he hits the ball as hard as humanly possible. And have you seen his numbers against breaking balls so far this year? Yeah, he's swinging and missing still a little bit, but he's hitting over 300 against them. Just consider it. Let me know in the YouTube chat. Anyone want this ticket? Because Arm's too stupid to take it. Yeah. And I'm only selling it to you for like $50. Only $50.
Yeah, the price just went up. I'm good.
All right, $75 deal. Okay, so next series up, D-backs versus Phillies. This was a good one. Game 1, D-backs win 5-4. The Phillies got out to a 4-0 lead after the first inning, highlighted by a 3-run home run from Brandon Marsh, who was off to a pretty damn good start. But then the D-backs clawed all the way back. In the 5th, Marte drove in 2 on a single, then Vargas drove in another, and then James McCann came up clutch. Shout out my high school, Dos Pueblos High School alum, James McCann. 2-run double to give Arizona the lead, and that was that. Jesus Luzardo, tough start. Again, it was really tough start, elite, and then tough again. 4 2/3, 5 earned, 8 strikeouts, though. Of course, he still got that stuff. But his ERA is up to 6.23. We move to game 2. Phillies win 4-3 this time. The D-backs jumped on Taijuan Walker early, highlighted by a Ketel Marte home run, but the Phillies would have the last laugh. In the 3rd, Schwarber rocked a 3-run home run. Then Bryce Harper followed up with a homer as well, back to back. And that was all they needed. Those 2 runs that Walker gave up early, that was it for him. Went 5 innings, and then the bullpen shut the door. But we moved to game 3. This time, the D-backs win 4-3. They had a 2-0 lead going into the bottom of the 6th, highlighted by shout-out Dos Pueblos High School, James McCann, RBI double. Trey Turner answered with a 2-run shot. Then Bryce Harper ripped an RBI double to take the lead. D-backs would get it back in the 8th on RBI singles from Jose Fernandez and Adrian Del Castillo, and that was that. Arm. The Diamondbacks are 9-7. With Ketel Marte posting a 67 WRC+. And it's got a lot to do with their starting pitching staff. Now, Brandon Pfaadt has struggled, but Gallen, Nelson, Erod, and Soroka are all off to really good starts. And the D-backs are like owed this. Like,
yes,
so many injuries to their bullpen. Who's going to step up in the entire pitching staff? Going into the season, Gallen was coming off a rough year. Erod hadn't done shit in multiple years. Soroka dealt with injuries his whole career. Nelson looked like he was going to take the next step, but there wasn't a lot to latch on to. And now all 4 of them are off to great starts. It's so good to see. Again, the D-backs deserve some good stuff going their way.
Yeah, and the bullpen's not good, but it's not the worst we've ever seen. And I think that's great news because I thought it would be. They're 22nd in bullpen ERA, which, dude, if they can hover around there, they got a shot. I literally thought they would be the worst. But by the way, which is Houston with a 6.92 going into today. Yeah, that's crazy. But Soroka, man, like, again, I mentioned it a few episodes ago or maybe a week or two ago, and that on the backfields and spring training, like that was a buzzy name in Arizona. That just reworked pitch mix, feels really good. The stuff looks different. 10 Ks, and it's been a couple good outings now from him. Erod, it's been just feels like a continuation from the WBC where he is just throwing with more confidence. And to see Brandon Pfaadt turn in a pretty good one, after the slow start from him is great. And then in Gallen, slight adjustments, trying to go get a contract that he thought he would get this offseason. He can't really be worse. We saw a better version of him in the second half, so carrying that over as well. I think these are all. Is it going to sustain to this level with all of these guys? I don't know, but I do think it's believable that each of these guys can be better than they were last year. And if they're just better than they were last year, this Arizona team can hang around, and they just need to hang around because then you get Corbin Burns back in the second half. Yep. And I think you're going to start to get some other pieces back. Lourdes Gurriel is going to come back sooner rather than later. Moreno hurt again, but hopefully you get him back. Things can start to get a little bit better for this team. Remember, Lawler was off to a good start. He got hurt. I'm obviously a Diamondbacks fan. I've made that clear here. I'm all in on the D-backs just because I feel so bad for the way things have gone the last couple of years. And this is a year where we're like, oh, well, it definitely can't happen this year. So I really want it to happen this year. We'll see what happens, but I've been impressed with the way that they've been able to tread water so far because, they are banged up and there is a lot of questions with the pitching staff.
Corbin Carroll is so good. Remember when he hurt himself? Didn't he have a hamate injury before?
Yeah, hamate.
That's supposed to really zap your power. He's hitting 330 with an OPS over 1,000, and he's already got a couple of home runs. He's just, I run out of things to say about him because great defender, great bat to ball, so much pop in that bat, and just consistently great at bats. Hits the ball to all ways. He's just so good. I want to shout out.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say one quick thing on them too. Sean Donahue in the comments, very beloved member in the Discord as well, mentioned Ryan Waldschmidt. Ryan Waldschmidt, who's going to be coming up potentially too, can play all three outfield spots, at least get by in center field. He's 1,022 OPS in the early going right now in AAA. So I know it's hitter friendly out there, but still a guy that also can come up and help that Diamondbacks team soon.
I need him to come up because a rookie draft. I got to start accumulating WAR, and maybe he's next up. Also, shout out K Williams 7528. Thank you for the donation, my friend. Peter, do not forget about our Gunnar versus Lindor WAR bet. I'm on Gunnar. I'm not forgetting about any of them, my friend. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I like that too. You're starting to rally the troops. You're starting to celebrate on April 12th.
Good.
It's an interesting. I get it though. We've made a lot of bets and they'll be brought up in the comment section when people are feeling good about them. But that's the thing about waiting an entire season, and we will certainly see. All right. Moving on to our next series, Angels versus Reds. Game 1, Angels win 10-2. This one got ugly quick as Chase Burns completely lost command. And the Angels had 4 runs through the first 4 innings, highlighted by a Zach Neto home run. Angels kept the party going late. Josh Lowe homered, and then Jorge Soler ripped a grand slam. Ellie homered in the 8th, but cue the Chris Paul down by 40 meme. Yeah. Jack Kohanowicz's arm?
Dude, I don't understand.
I don't understand either. He's so tall. I thought he was a waste of height, but so far he's been pretty damn good. And in this game, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned. His ERA is down to 3.24. Let's move to game 2. Reds get revenge. They win 7-3. This game was over by the first inning, highlighted by a bases clearing double from Nate Lowe, and then Spencer Steer homered in the second, really sealed it. George Klassen has just gotten off to a really rough start. 2 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned, 5 walks. His ERA is at 11.57 through 2 starts. It's so funny. I watch him and I'm like, holy shit, this stuff is so good. And then he throws it and I'm like, holy shit, you have no idea where it's going. But
72 pitches, 34 strikes.
Yeah, not exactly. Not a good ratio.
No,
I would say. Not at all. Let's move to game 3. Angels win 9-6. Angels jumped all over Andrew Abbott, putting up 7 runs in the first 4 innings, highlighted by an Oswald Peraza home run. And that was more than enough for Jose Soriano, a.k.a. the best pitcher alive, who went 7 innings of two hits, no runs, 10 punchies. Reds would rally late, highlighted by another Elly De La Cruz home run, but wasn't enough. So, Aram, my big takeaway, how could it not be about Jose Soriano? Who leads Major League Baseball in ERA at 0.33. He's holding opponents to a 1.02 batting average. From last year, he had a good year, but he was allowing a lot of hard contact. His hard hit rate was like 48%. He was able to hedge that with a lot of that contact on the ground, but now that's gone. He's cut his hard hit rate by 10%, and now they're still making solid contact against his sinker and his fastball, even though they're nasty, and most of it's on the ground, so it's fine, and it doesn't even matter. But his knuckle curve, his splitter, and his slider, I mean, the average EVs against those are in the 70s, and it's getting tons of whiff. I mean, this guy, I'm not saying he's going to do this year, but it reminds me of Framber when he's in his prime, where it's just nasty sinkers. And then he just gets in a rhythm and gives you the splitter. He has a wider pitch mix than Framber did.
Yeah.
Right? Framber didn't have this splitter, but he had a curveball like him, and it looks like Framber's curve, but he has a more diverse mix. This guy, I mean, I don't know if anyone has a Jose Soriano Cy Young ticket out there on FPM, but not only are the stats amazing, my eyes agree. He looks awesome.
Yeah, I think the biggest shift was I think he was just a little bit too predictable last year. Yeah, it was really good in terms of the hard sinker, ground balls, but to your point, like you said, the contact was too hard. So now he actually improved the sinker a little bit, where he's getting an extra inch of horizontal and one less inch of vert. So it's going to be a little bit heavier and run a little bit more. But you've seen him Soriano's cut the sinker or 2-seam usage by about 20%. And he's upped his 4-seam usage. So now you're getting him changing eye levels a little bit more. The 4-seamer in a vacuum is not, a great pitch. It's kind of flirts with the dead zone, but it's enough. And also he gained a little bit more ride to it, but it's enough when you're thinking about heavy sinker and heavy just power curveball and a splitter, everything breaking down late. Then all of a sudden, as you're starting to like move your sights down, you get 98 buzzed in the upper part of the zone and you just can't catch up to it.
Yep.
So him being able to change that perspective a little bit and get out of just the everything running downwards cadence, I think has made Soriano a lot less predictable and a lot more able to pitch to all these different quadrants. He looks disgusting. And when you see that much of a pitch mix shift and then this kind of success follow, I think it becomes a little bit easier to buy into the fact that this guy might be, taking another step forward this year.
Couldn't agree with you more. Podcast P in our private chat, our brilliant producer, said he's got an Elly stat when we have a chance. Podcast P, what are we talking about with Elly? All right, as a right-handed hitter against lefties for Elly De La Cruz in 2023, he slugged 263. It was bad. 2024 increased that to 354, but then in 2025, it was much of the same. His high for home runs against lefties was 6. This year, 909 slug, 4 home runs. This is what we're talking about in the evolution of Elly De La Cruz, because he was almost one of those candidates where it's like, hey, Elly, maybe it's not even worth it to switch hit anymore. But he just gets better and better. And I think defensively, we saw his defense get a lot better quicker. But now, if you're telling me that Elly De La Cruz can be this big right-handed power bat against lefties on top of everything he does as a left-handed bat against righties, holy shit, it's getting scary.
Yeah, I mean that really, because the right side was just weighing down his overall numbers. Yeah. So if he can close that gap just even a little bit, obviously he's exceeding his left side now, but even just close the gap by the end of the season, I think you're going to see those overall numbers look a lot better. And also you're going to see less, lefties coming in late to go get Elly, where, you won't be able to just go attack a weakness here against bullpens. And I think that's something that will help him big time too. He won't have to see them in leverage a lot more because teams just feel like they're, getting a much inferior hitter when they bring in the lefty out of the bullpen. So it will change Elly's game if he can close that gap. And it looks like he's doing that. I'm sure it was a big focus this offseason.
And this is much needed for the Reds because they need offense anywhere that they can get it. And
Yep.
if it's just coming from Ellie's right side again, that's going to help them because right now it just feels like it's Ellie and Sal Stewart. And then you're just kind of waiting. But if Ellie can be a great hitter from both sides of the plate, I'm sure Reds fans will absolutely take it. All right, let's move over to our next series. Twins versus Blue Jays. Aram, I'm offering you a ticket. The Twins, no, just kidding. But the Twins are awesome. Game 1, Blue Jays win 10-4. This wasn't so great for the Twins. Great for the Blue Jays, though. But the Twins jumped all over Patrick Corbin. Yes, Patrick Corbin is a Toronto Blue Jay, highlighted by a Ryan Jeffers 3-run homer and a Brooks Lee solo shot. But from there, all Jays. Jesus Sanchez started the 4th inning rally with an RBI double, and then the runs just kept coming in, and they took the lead in that inning thanks to a Brandon Valenzuela home run, and they never looked back. Varsho homered, Ernie, Springer, Vladdy all had RBI doubles. They scored in every inning starting in the 4th inning onwards. But game 2 and game 3, it was all Twins, baby. The 4.3 percenters. I hear you. Dalton Varsho homered in the 1st, but a 7-run 3rd inning for Minnesota decided this one. Brooks Lee and Trevor Larnach homered. Josh Bell and Ryan Jeffers had RBIs. Got ugly quick for Toronto. And those 2 runs that Joe Ryan gave up early to Dalton Varsho, that was it. 7 innings, 2-run ball, 5 punchies. Twins win 7-4. And then game 3 was even uglier for Toronto. Twins win 8-2. Varsho opened the scoring again for the Jays, which might be bad luck because the same thing happened again. Tristan Gray homered, Cody Clemens homered, and then the Twins just piled on, highlighted by a 2-run double from Brooks Lee. And Taj Bradley was solid again. 5 innings, 1 earned, 7 punchies. His ERA is down to 1.25. Now, I do want to ask you your 25 favorite things about the Minnesota Twins. But I think my biggest takeaway here, to be quite honest with you, and I don't know how it couldn't be the biggest takeaway from this series and the Blue Jays season so far, their injury report is
just
unbelievably depressing. Outside of their opening series, they haven't had a series where someone didn't get hurt. Alejandro Kirk, George Springer, Addison Barger, Anthony Santander, Jose Barrios, Shane Bieber, Cody Ponce, Bowden Francis, Trey Savage, and Jimmy Garcia all hurt. Hard to win games when you're half the team is gutted. I mean, that's a playoff roster that's just on the injury list. Like, I've heard people are like, talking about Blue Jays regression. This is not regression. What are you talking about? When half the team gets hurt? It's ridiculous to call this regression.
Yeah, no, that's not regression. It's also a really good baseball team. This is just bad luck, and a team that is legitimately handcuffed right now. Like, you can't even assess the team properly with the way things are. I would say the things that you can try to assess though is like Okamoto needs to get going, but also like what you're going to say, 15 games into his big league career, you're going to start to make like a actionable takeaway. Yes. I think Nathan Lucas is an interesting one. I mean, he's off to a really slow start, and they've got some guys in the upper minors that could start to get looks if you want. Remember, they did trade Joey Loperfido, but they did get Jesus Sanchez, who's been putting together some decent at bats for them. So I do want to shout out my king, Hendrik Pinango in AAA. I want this guy to get a chance. He's not a good defender. He actually, some may say, is a terrible defender in the outfield. But Hendrik hits bombs. I thought he should have got taken in the Rule 5. He didn't. They need a spark right now. I think they should give Hendrik Pinango a little bit of a look here. I will say, though, right now they're giving Eloy Jimenez the look, and he's put together some okay at-bats. So when Eloy Jimenez is getting looks, when I'm trying to campaign for Pinango, when Brandon Valenzuela is catching, they are trying to find a spark, and it's rough right now. As long as the Blue Jays aren't 20 games under by June, I think they'll be okay. But they've got to hang in there, right? They need to hang in there. And if you're going to hang in there, you can't get swept. They didn't get swept, but they needed to, I think, fight back a little bit more in those last 2 games. We'll see how it goes moving forward. I do want to give credit to the Twins, though. They're playing good ball. They signed some vets going into this year to raise the floor of this team. And Taj Bradley looks like a really savvy acquisition as he continues to throw the ball really well, too. Everyone was kind of saying, including myself, like, Why would you trade Jax right now? In terms of like maybe you could get a little bit more for him. It seems like they actually did all right. I felt like the Louis Varland trade even was like, oh, you have years of control with Varland. It seems like they're doing all right overall. So, I don't hate it. I think the moves are starting to age pretty well, and the Twins, between their young talent and some of the vets, are playing decent ball.
They're probably going to win the division.
Yeah, you're all in on that?
I am not all in on that, but
There's
certainly
the Guardians, the Royals, the Tigers.
I'm not impressed with any of those teams. I mean, they're all like good in their own right and they're all fine, but let's not pretend that they are the cream of the crop. Like, it would be the most surprising thing in the world if all those teams were in the low to mid 80s and the Twins just shock the world and win 87 games and win this division. I mean, hey, Vegas had them as the favorite to win the division last year. They still have a lot of talent on this team. Notably, Taj Bradley has really stepped up, number 1 in Stuff Plus right now, which I like to use for small samples because it just grades the physical characteristics of a pitch. I don't view it as super predictive long term, but I like to use it right now to kind of get a snapshot of the spin rate, the velocity, release point, all that good stuff. Taj Bradley has objectively looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he looks great.
Another arm in the fire. And they have a lot of young arms too. You lose Pablo Lopez, seems like no problem for the Minnesota Twins so far.
We'll see if they can last. Emmanuel Rodriguez could come up and help them. They have, of course, Walker Jenkins who could come up at some point and help them. So there's some intrigue and there's some arms, in AAA as well. But I think the Tigers are going to get rolling, and they kind of are already. We'll get to them later.
We will. All right, but our 5th series. Time to talk about the New York Mets. This one is a series that Mets fans would like to forget. Game 1, but also A's fans want to celebrate. So let's celebrate for the people down in Sacramento. Game 1, A's win 4-0. Brilliant pitching by the A's. JT Ginn went 4 scoreless, only allowing 1 hit. And then the A's bullpen just shut the door. Langeliers, McNeil in his return to Citi Field, and Denzel Clark all had RBI singles. And then game 2, A's win in a big way, 11-6. They jumped all over Kodai Senga, bouncing him in the 3rd after allowing 7 runs. Tyler Soderstrom, Carlos Cortez homered, and Mendoza said after the game that Senga, and I quote, didn't have much. Mets would battle back with homers from Bichette and Francisco Alvarez and Polanco. Also, shout out Francisco Alvarez. His season so far, he's got like a 180 WRC plus. Drake Baldwin's getting a lot of attention, deservedly so, as one of the best up-and-coming young catchers. Francisco Alvarez has looked great. He's just getting overshadowed because the Mets suck right now, with all due respect. But Soderstrom's 2nd homer of the game put this one completely out of reach. And then in game 2, Mets just laid down. A's win 1-0. Aaron Savali came, and he conquered. 5 2/3 while allowing just 4 hits and not allowing a run. And then the A's bullpen shut it down. The lone run in this game came from a Nick Kurtz homer, as Freddie Peralta went 6 innings, a 1-run ball with 6 strikeouts. I really want to get your take on the Mets, but I want to highlight some unsung heroes on the A's, right? Lawrence Butler, Nick Kurtz, and Tyler Soderstrom all have OPSs this year below 700. But they're getting really valuable production from guys like Carlos Cortez, Max Muncy, and of course, Shea Langeliers looks so good. I'm thinking to myself, once Brent Rooker returns, who got injured this past weekend, top of the lineup starts to heat up, like they showed in the series, right? Those guys had better series in this one. This is a really good lineup. Now, it's going to be on them to pitch. Springs has come out and look good. Severino's come out and look good. They're kind of mixing and matching. Luis Medina has transitioned from the rotation into the bullpen. Like, they got some arms, and you see it. You see the bones. But once those guys heat up at the top, that's when we get the meat. That's when they get the meat on the body.
Yeah, I'm seeing it come together here. I agree. And Kurtz especially just picking up here is big. You start to see him take off probably in the end of the Houston series, and then it went into the Yankees series where he swung it well at Yankee Stadium, and then comes up with the home run after a little bit of a slow start in the first 2 games of the Mets series. So getting Kurtz going is huge. I'm excited to see what JT Ginn can continue to do. It was a revenge game for him too. People might forget he was drafted by the Mets, and then traded in 2022 for Chris Bassett. So Ginn's a guy that has had a ton of talent, but just has dealt with a lot of injuries. Savali just continues to throw the ball pretty well. So we'll see. And maybe he's a guy that can just end up giving them some decent innings. But Max Muncy's a former first-round pick, a guy that has some whiff issues, but throughout watching him, I've just always seen a guy that I thought could be at least, a decent second division regular type of player, but I think always still had the upside of being like an average regular. And so far we're seeing that. Now we'll have to see if he can sustain it through the year, but I think he can play some good defense at third. He has more power than people may expect, and he doesn't need to be a superstar. If he's your 7-ish hitter and just playing decent defense at third, good compliment to the rest of this lineup that is, like you mentioned, going to pick up. So I think this was a big series for the Athletics to start to get things rolling here. And I think their best baseball is obviously ahead of them. And I think that we're going to see some really fun stretches from them as long as they can pitch the ball a little bit. And they did here.
On the Mets side, Francisco Alvarez didn't play in this game. How many hitters do you think in the Mets lineup have an OPS above 690?
2?
1. And his name is Jared Young. He's got an 841 OPS. He's off to a good start. But look at their lineup right now. Let's just go through it. Lindor hitting 188 with a 573 OPS. Polanco 184, 565. Mark Vientos.
Luis Robert had the day off, I guess.
Luis Robert had the day off too. So I guess I'm kind of cheating. I'm more just looking at their lineup from Sunday. So yeah, Jared Young wasn't.
But that's a tough avoid the sweep lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Bichette has looked better, but he's still got a 593 OPS. Beatty's 549, Semien 526, Benj 427, Luis Torrens 579, and Tyrone Taylor 671. So I guess outside of the Mark Vientos pinch hit, you could make that stat for 675. Like we could talk about the pitching all we want. If you can't hit, you can't win.
I mean, they pitched well enough to win 2 of the 3 games. So
yeah.
If you play the Athletics for a 3-game set, you might get blitzed in one of them. That's going to happen. Their offense is great. Yeah, I mean, they got to hit. I think they're going to. I think this is a team that'll warm up as the weather warms up a little bit here. And the Juan Soto thing, you take that anchor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's not many guys that anchor a lineup better than Juan Soto, especially a lineup that's kind of sputtering out of the gate.
There's 3 of them. Judge, Ohtani, Jordan. So, like, those are your anchors. These are the anchors of lineups. Well, the Dodgers don't really need an anchor.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
Need one. But yeah, point received. I think they got to obviously weather the storm without Soto here. I still think the Mets are going to win the division. I want to put myself on record saying that. But yeah, it's
over
rough
the
here.
Nationals. Over the Nationals.
Well, maybe not. That might be the best offense in ball right now.
It is. No, but we're not going to Frank the Tank the Mets. They're fine. It's obviously disheartening. Losing 5 in a row, getting swept at home. I get it. I'll talk with Fink on Wednesday about it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
please get him going. Please.
He'll be bright and cheery on Wednesday. But for now, like, it's early in the season. Freddie looked great today, right? 6 inning. Great. He had some traffic, but ultimately ended up 6 innings, 1 run, 6 Ks. Nolan McLean looks outrageously good. Like Luke Weaver had a really bad outing, but it's still Razabon looks great. Like you have a good bullpen, you have a good starting rotation. The lineup will inevitably heat up. Like Lindor's not going to do this. Bichette's not going to do this. They're going to be totally fine. And then podcast piece flashing all of Lindor's mistakes. It's, getting picked off, forgetting how many outs.
He's definitely not been there totally. And like, that's a guy that's going to be there, but I think you got to look at him as a part of why this team is struggling. Cause when one of your leaders and key guys there is just making those kind of mistakes, you just wonder, how that affects everybody else too. So I think Lindor will get going. Obviously, I don't think there's much doubt about that, but the mental side of it's been weird out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got, 5 more series to go from me and then 5 more series to go from you. But podcast P, before we do that, can I get a quick whoosh? Okay. Should probably talk about the Yankees Rays series, I guess. We don't have to, right? We could just skip.
You want to skip through it?
No, as an unbiased journalist, I'm going to get through it. Game 1, Rays win 5-3. The Yankees just had the worst weekend ever. Game 1, Rays win 5-3. Eventful first inning as the Yankees put up 2 in the top half, highlighted by an Ahmed Rosario triple. That wasn't really a triple, though, as Chandler Simpson dove 10 feet behind the baseball, completely misjudging it. Yandy Diaz had his back in the first, though, going the opposite way for a 2-run homer to tie it. Simpson would drive in a run to make up for it in the second, then punched through a single in the sixth to score another, so he more than made up for it. Ben Rice homered in the eighth, his fourth, greatest hitter of all time, but it wasn't enough. Then game 2, Rays win 5-4 in 10 innings, back and forth. It really was a great game. Yankees and Rays traded runs in the second, highlighted by an Austin Wells homer. Jonathan Aranda gave the Rays the lead in the sixth, and former Ray, Jose Caballero, gave the Yankees the lead in the eighth on a 2-run single. Aaron Boone, Max Fried was at 70 or 88 pitches. Aaron Boone goes out there and might take him out. Max Fried says, I can get him. Yandy Diaz made him pay, ripping a single to tie the game. Cabby would give the Yankees a lead again in the eighth, but then the Rays stormed back in the bottom half, and Aranda reached in a tie game on a Jazz Chisholm error. Then afterwards, he admitted that he didn't really know the rules. Game 3, Rays win 5-4. Rays got out to an early 3-0 lead, giving Cam Schlittler his first trouble of the season. Yankees would battle back, but the Rays just kept tacking on runs by any means necessary. Sack flies, bunts, you name it. Judge would homer in the ninth, but it wasn't enough, and the Rays sweep. So the Yankees fall to 0-289 since the Trop was built back in 1990. We suck over there. And now the Rays are in first place. The Yankees have lost 5 in a row.
Are they still your favorite? Since you said that they are the team to beat in the American League, they are 0-5.
I didn't want to do this series. You made me.
Okay, I'll give you a pivot. Drew Rasmussen has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 7 Ks. And they're like, he could have went deeper into that game. He only threw 76 pitches. They're understandably managing his workload. Remember, Drew Rasmussen has undergone 3 elbow surgeries. Rasmussen now, though, 16 innings, and he's allowed 2 earned runs. I think both of them are on solo shots. That's it, at the Cardinals and at the Brewers. This guy's been spectacular. And if they get this Drew Rasmussen for the entire year, I mean, that elevates the Rays big time. And then all of a sudden you start to watch them do the Rays thing a little bit and hang around and be competitive. I think as much as I want to pile on the Yankees, and they definitely did made some mistakes, I think there was some magic with the Trop being back and just being back there and playing. I just think that the players were I don't know. There was a little bit of positive energy there.
I agree.
I enjoyed
it. Totally was. Like we walked into that building and there was a magic there, and we weren't winning a game. It just happened.
The Yankees were like, oh crap, this thing's back. It was really cool to see like the fans over the last week just rally around that. And also like you play tight games with the Rays. I know their bullpen hasn't been their typical bullpen, but you play tight games with the Rays, you're going to be liable to lose a lot of those. And I think just some little miscues were the difference, but I think the Rays are playing some pretty good ball all of a sudden right now, and they're a scrappy team that can catch you when you're making mistakes and make you pay for it.
All right, let's talk about the Jazz thing. You see it?
Yes.
Forgot the rules.
I don't think he forgot him. I don't think he ever knew him.
True. Yeah, forgetting implies that he knew him. Didn't know him.
My favorite quote real quick before you get to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Aaron Boone. Jazz Chisholm is, quote, not a dumb guy, quote, end quote, after post-game confusion in Tampa. Just a funny thing to go out and say. I'm sure there was more context to the context.
When your manager has to do PR for you being stupid, it's not a great look. It's not a great look. Now, I mean, what can I say? Should I yell at Jazz? Should I scream at the top of my lungs? Again, I have to remind myself it's April 12th.
He was just being honest. There's probably other players. Maybe there's other players that would have just lied.
I think what's worse is that he's off to a really rough start.
Yeah. Well, and the other quote too is like, it's cold. When it heats up, I heat up. And then you're playing a series indoors in Florida and you sucked.
And he's making boneheaded decisions. He's not hitting. He's not doing anything right now.
He's still going to finish the year at like 4.5 WAR and be great.
I know. He's fine. It's just like these things piss me. Like this is the thing with Jazz and why Jazz to me is such he's like the weirdest guy I've ever rooted for in a Yankee uniform. And I'm trying to come up with a better term than weird, but it's like nobody gets me as excited and as pissed off as Jazz Chisholm does. Because when Jazz is playing well and he's playing good defense and he's running around the bases and the bat looks good, I'm like, oh my God, sign him to a 10-year deal. This guy's as talented as anybody. And then you got the shit talking off the field. You got all the noise that he always brings. And, he's got his flair and stuff, but sometimes it's just.
The flair is fun. The flair is fun
at times.
Until this happens.
Until this happens, right? And then he makes these bonehead decisions. And when he's playing bad, it looks terrible. It's just like he pisses me off and excites me like no player I've ever seen in a Yankee uniform. And I still don't even know if I like him. Like, I know I like him, but sometimes I hate him, and
Can you provide the context before we move on of what the rule was that he didn't understand?
You want me to provide the context?
Or Podcast P, do you have it like locked in to exactly describe what he didn't understand?
Because that was the thing when I was listening to the post-game presser, and again, this was earlier on in the weekend, like I didn't even understand what he was talking about. And that's what confused me. I was like, what even rule? He was thinking about like tagging the runner. I didn't even understand what he was talking about. And then Grisham just corrects him in the dugout or in the locker room in that post-game presser. He was like, oh, Podcast P is going to come on and deliver the news.
Yeah, Podcast P, give us the full lowdown here.
Here he comes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
From my understanding, what he was asking was if he threw the ball to first and then Rice went to second and tagged the runner out at second, would it be a run preventing double play? That's what he was asking.
Yeah, and the answer would be no.
He got confused because he thought first off, by the way, unexcusable. But what I'm trying to explain is what he was saying was because since he bobbled it and threw it to first, he was asking if Rice threw it to second and that runner got tagged out, would the run have counted? The answer is yes, because it's not a force play.
Yeah. Because you would nullify the force and then make it a tag out, and the run would have crossed in time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he was talking about.
Which I can understand in the moment, just being like, I got like as I bobbled it, I got overstimulated. I didn't know where to go, and just
by the way, about this play,
I messed it up. The moment was too big. But
Bellinger,
not knowing that if you throw the ball to first base, that then the next play is going to be a tag play, and if the run scores before that, the run counts is probably something you should know.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. It was a tough play too, because if you look like off the bat, Bellinger is right there. It's like he has to catch that, tag Yandy. Very tough play. Obviously, you have to make it in that spot. But yeah, that's what he was asking. If it's like a very like weird, peculiar, whatever situation that
it was almost an impossible play, anyways. Though, if he fielded the ball, by the time he tried to tag Yandy, who stopped, and then he would have had to throw the ball to first base, the only play would have been straight to home. And I don't think he was ever going to do that. Dude. Which that was probably just what he should have done. He should have just went straight to home. So I guess it would have been his fault anyways.
Yandy Diaz is built like prime Jonathan Vilma. There is no shot. I'm sorry. I can give Jazz an excuse for like freezing, seeing that in his peripherals.
Yeah.
I think Peyton's being very nice to Jazz. I don't think it was a very tough play. And I also don't think that you should be alarmed by Yandy Diaz, who's been in your division and you know what he looks like, and you shouldn't be scared about him running.
You're going over the middle against a middle linebacker?
Yeah, Albert Bell.
All right. We're going to talk about the Jazz fan club later, but let's move on to a different series, please. This whole conversation. Yuck. Let's move over to Mariners versus Astros. All right. Astros not looking great. Let's talk about it. Game 1, Mariners win 9-6. Mariners jumped on Tatsuya Imai, bouncing him after he only recorded 1 out as he walked 4 batters and gave up 3 runs. And Seattle just kept on going. Randy homered, Dominic Canzone had an RBI double, JP Crawford had an RBI single, and Cal Raleigh brought in another run. Yordan homered for the 5th time this season. In the 8th, but it was too little too late. Game 2, Mariners win 8-7. Both McCullers and Castillo did not have good days as both offenses came out red hot. Cal Raleigh homered for Seattle. Then Taylor Trammell had a bases clearing double for Houston. Then Yordan homered, but then the Mariners would climb all the way back on a 4-run 5th inning, highlighted by Julio Rodriguez's first homer of the season, finally. Then in the bottom of the 9th, J.P. Crawford ripped a single to score Cole Young to give Seattle the walk-off win. We move to Game 3. Mariners win 6-1. The Seattle just jumped on the Astros early like they did this entire series. 2 of those runs coming by bases loaded walks. Again, this was a tough one. Randy also had an RBI single. Cody Bolton only lasted 1 inning but had to exit due to back tightness. But Gilbert didn't need anything. Gilbert was brilliant. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 7 strikeouts. I want to talk about the Mariners. This was a big series for them. They got off to a really rough start, and the offense clicking that the way it did over your division rival at home. Great series win. I just want to focus on the Astros for a little bit because they are in deep trouble. They're now at 6-10. I know it's early, so the record is not really what I'm interested in. What unfortunately is happening is just everyone is getting injured. Hunter Brown, injured. Christian Javier, injured. The reserves are going down like Cody Bolton. They have an elite offense. Like Cam Smith has been awesome this year. Yordan Alvarez. Altuve's been great. They're getting so many great contributions. Christian Walker has bounced back. He's got like a 940 OPS. Mm-hmm. It can really hit. But you can't win if you can't pitch. And it's like, even so, they had a volatile rotation. And now half of them are hurt. And you're relying on Imai and McCullers at the front of their rotation right now. Like, it's going to be really hard for them to win games.
Yeah. And Imai is it's going to take him a little while to settle in here. I think it's clear. Like, we see the flashes, but also, I mean, for this rotation, they don't need a guy that could be 6 shutty potentially on his good days and not get out of the first. They need a guy that can just be Jameson Tyone right now. Like they need innings and they need a shot to win with this offense. Not a guy that's going to make by the way, the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball so far this year. Have to get into a game earlier. Brian Abreu struggling is really concerning. Like there's a lot of wrinkles here that are concerning. The offense, you hope you can just keep them in games. And Cam Smith, the only thing I want to say, Cam Smith, with the context of his rookie year and how he had to progress straight to the major leagues, and I've talked about his whole background story, but with the context of his professional path, I think he was the most obvious breakout candidate ever, and he's doing it. And I'm excited about that. But again, there's no questions about the offense. Like, this is a really, really, really good team on the offensive side of things when everybody's healthy and everything's clicking. But I don't know, this might be like you talked about and predicted in the beginning of the year. This might be a staff that is a legitimate liability. And it's not like you can immediately address that anytime soon because pitching isn't really out there to go acquire. They might, I think they can't really go sign anybody because they won't go over the CBT. So it's not like they can go get a Giolito or go try to sign one of these free agents that are left. They either would have to trade somebody and create money, just create space, then go sign an arm in a panic move, or just try to figure it out as is. So it's concerning. As much as it was a bad series for them, I still think this team can find a way to hang around if guys just start throwing the ball a little bit better, but the injury is really concerning. I do want to say that this series was more of of a Mariners impressive series. They're waking up than an Astros like they're fucked, at least in my opinion.
I kind of disagree with that. And the reason I say that is it was great to see Cal homer, right? Julio Rodriguez homered. But I just felt like the pitching from Houston was so bad. And it's not like Emerson Hancock had that great of a start. Luis Castillo didn't have that great of a start. I feel like the Mariners offense at home just took advantage of a battered and bruised Houston staff. And that's why, I want to praise the Mariners. I believe the Mariners can be the best team in the American League. But in this series, in a vacuum, to me, it felt like the Astros more falling apart than the Mariners having this, incredible moment that's going to propel them. I still need to see the Mariners continually put it together before I stamp and say they're back, right? To me, it just felt like Houston fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely were terrible. And if they do it against another team, I think you see them picking up 23 runs against any major league roster. I feel decent about, but I think that's a fair point. I mean, it was the worst pitching performance by a team on the weekend, and it wasn't even close. So let's see the Mariners do it against another team. Logan Gilbert was great. Also, really cool pickoff play. I wish I had Podcast P dial that up before, but where Josh Naylor breaks to the bag early, makes Altuve think that the pickoff's coming, then doesn't come. So Altuve thinks, oh, maybe it was just like a play that ended up didn't happen, or a timing play that Gilbert ends up not deciding to throw it. So then he starts to shuffle back off again after like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi count, and Cal Raleigh drops his glove, and that's when he goes. So you like pump fake the pickoff play and then get his guard down and then do the pickoff, and it worked. It was a really cool play. I haven't seen that before. Savvy move by the Mariners there. That's my only other thought.
Yeah, it was very, very savvy. No, I agree with you. And I know Podcast P is quickly cooking up that highlight for our audience to see that one too, because I do want to see another replay of that one. And he said stall. So now I'm stalled. Should we talk about the Minnesota Twins?
I want to say Cam Smith. I'm like on top of what we've already talked about here. I think he's going to have a 4+ WAR season. I think he has a chance to win a Gold Glove. I'm not trying to be exaggerative of like out of the gate. I think the guy's going to win a Gold Glove at the very least. We'll see how the bat continues to kind of progress, but I think that's going to be a big part of things for him too. I just really don't know how these Astros find more pitching. They need Amai to figure it out so badly, and that's such a tough spot to put the player that you just signed and brought over from Japan.
Imai is impossible for me watching him so far through 3 starts, because first 2 innings against the Angels, this dude, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this guy's an ace. Then he just falls apart. Command, gone. And he just gets crushed out like a light. Second start, dominates. It looks so good. And then this start, no command, destroyed. I have no idea, but I think Podcast P has the highlights, and now let's look.
Yeah.
Watch this pickoff play.
Okay.
So, Arm, you go
So
ahead.
Naylor breaks to the bag, pretends like a throw's coming. It doesn't come. Altuve shuffles back, thinking a pickoff's coming. Once he sees no throw, then he gains more ground again to regain his lead, and that's when the throw comes over dead to rights. Sick pickoff play. When I'm coaching a little league team, we're going to be putting that on in a few years. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, we got to live close to each other, and I kind of want our kids on opposing teams, though. I want to go after you. I want to go after you. All right, let's talk Red Sox Cardinals. Good series. Game 1, Cardinals win 3-2. Dustin May shoved against his former team, going 6 innings and allowing just 1 run and striking out 4. Thomas Ajacey had a clutch 5th inning single to score the tying run, and then Jose Fermin brought in the eventual winning run on a sac fly. Game 2, Red Sox get revenge. They win 7-1. Here's where Ranger Suarez looked like the $100 million pitcher, going 6 innings, only allowing 3 hits and striking out 6. I've said it before. I'll say it again in the future. It's probably my most commonly said thing about Ranger Suarez. The cold streaks look terrible, and then the hot streaks, you'd give him $500 million. I hope this is the start of a hot streak for Ranger Suarez, and the Red Sox need it. Wilson Contreras drove home 2 on a double against his former team to open the scoring, which is all Boston ended up needing. A rally in the 9th by Boston blew this game wide open as Rafaela, Durbin, Duran, and Contreras all ripped RBI singles. And Jordan freaking Walker's 6th homer of the year was the only time, though, St. Louis scored. But Jordan Walker's amazing. Game 3, Red Sox win 9-3. Wilson Contreras continued wrecking havoc on his former team, opening the game with a 2-run jack and then ripping an RBI single late. Burleson and Walker homered again, his MLB leading 7th of the year. But this was a rout from start to finish. Bayo bounced back nicely. Brian Bayo, 6 innings and 2 earned. I really want to ask you your thoughts on Jordan Walker, because I don't think you and I have conversed about him, maybe at least since the last weekend roundup, but I do want to hear what you think about, some of his swing changes. I know he went to Driveline this offseason, just looks so much better. But real quick, Wilson Contreras, I got to shout him out, because if we're going to make fun of him for, freaking out about it getting hit by a pitch when he himself crowds the plate and he gets hit by a lot of pitches, I think he's 49th all time in hit by pitches. let's also compliment him when he's raking. He's been
Yeah.
a fantastic addition so far. He's hitting over 300. He's got an OPS north of 950 while playing solid defense at first base. He's already has 1 defensive run saved, and it's really helping this offense a lot. Roman Anthony, Caleb Durbin, Jaron Duran are all off to rough starts. Willier is obviously awesome, but they need more big-time bats in this lineup, especially now that Bregman is gone, and Contreras is filling that hole really, really nicely. So just, again, if I'm going to shit on you for the hit-by-pitch thing, I'm also going to compliment you when you're playing well, and he absolutely is.
And I think you're going to look at the end of the year and Wilson Contreras can have a 120 WRC plus like he always does, right? So and they need him right now. So he needs to be one of the consistent bats in that lineup and not putting it all on Roman Anthony to be a superstar right away and Willier to maintain an unbelievable pace. Trevor Story needs to be better, and he had a 4-hit day. So I think Contreras really needs to be that guaranteed above average big league bat that they acquired there. And I think he's showing that out of the gate here. The other side with Jordan Walker is just so much fun, and it's simplifying the swing. I know Peyton putting out a video on that and kind of breaking it down, I'm sure. But being able to just be ready for the fastball, where I think before a big part of him was just trying to cover everything, right? You need to air pull more. You need to be able to hit breaking balls better. And I just feel like he started to drift away from what he was as he's trying to chase all these different things. I always give the analogy of like when you're sitting in the ocean, just floating, and all of your stuff's out on the beach, and you know you have your blanket there, your stuff, and you don't really realize how far you drift away, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like 100 yards away from where my stuff was. I just wasn't paying attention. The same way where you're like pursuing swing adjustments or trying to fix certain things, you start to get away from who you were in the beginning, and then you don't realize as you're trying to fix all these different little things that you have completely evolved your swing, and maybe evolve as a positive connotation, but completely changed your swing from what has made you great all the way up to that point in the pursuit of being really great. So for him, I think a big part of it, and I know there's pieces out there, and Peyton flashed it on the screen about, the back hip collapsing and the backside collapsing. I think a big part of that was pursuing air pull. His hands would push up really late. I think he just got back to the basics, and I think it's going a long way for him, where he's just standing up, being more of an athlete, and letting himself just be the talented hitter that he is at the plate, instead of trying to counter all these different issues and be the perfect mover and have all the right mechanics.
I think it's a really good analogy on the beach. I think you're totally spot on with that. And he's clearly made some big time adjustments. And it's another good reminder that he's 5 months older than JJ Weatherholt.
Yeah.
23 years old. Give the man a second. Let's move over to Dodgers Rangers. Good series. Another good one. Game 1, Dodgers win 8-7. What a game. Muncy opened the scoring with a solo shot in the second, but former Dodgers legend Corey Seager wouldn't be denied, smashing a 3-run homer in the third to give Texas the lead. Muncy would homer again in the fourth to narrow the lead, then Langford homered for Texas to get that run back. Dodgers would then take the lead in the sixth on an Andy Pages 2-run double, and then Pages would homer again in the eighth, and it felt like the game was over, but not so fast. Evan Carter homered in the ninth, and then Ezekiel Duran tied it up on a single. But then in the bottom half, Muncy, for the third time, went yard, walk-off homer to give the Dodgers the win. Game 2, a lot simpler. Dodgers win 6-3. Brandon Nimmo led off the game with a homer, but that was matched by Shohei in the bottom half, and then Teoscar one-upped him with a 3-run homer in the same inning. Nimmo homered again, but it wasn't enough. Dodgers win. Game 3, Rangers win 5-2. Jacob deGrom was not messing around today. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 9 punchies. His ERA is at 2.87. Ohtani opened the scoring again with his second leadoff homer in as many games, but the Rangers came roaring back. Evan Carter homered again. Josh Smith had an RBI single, and Brandon Nimmo continued his hot streak with 2 RBIs. I know the Dodgers won the series. I'm sure you have some Dodgers takeaways. But my biggest takeaway from this series is because I kind of expected the Dodgers to win this series. Brandon Nimmo is on fire. He's hitting
that one swing was crazy. It's a check swing and it got out the other way.
He's hitting 367 with an OPS over 1,000 with 3 homers and a stolen base. He has been, the Rangers, they need bats, right?
Yeah.
Because the pitching has done their job for a year and change now. They need bats like him. They were willing to part with Semien. willing to forfeit a little defense in order to get some big-time bats in here, and Nimmo at the top of the order has absolutely delivered.
And they hung in there. The Dodgers are playing, out of their minds right now. And even the loss, being in a one-run game on a Kumar rocker start, which, opposite of Glass now, that's a scheduled disadvantage. And they hung in there and battled and ended up just losing in the bottom of the ninth, like you said. But I felt like every game was pretty close. They were playing pretty good ball. And then, just being able to avoid the sweep and take at least game 3 a little bit more decisively was impressive. Dodgers are a wagon right now. They're just clicking on all cylinders, and they're only going to get better. But, they'll cool off at a certain point in the season. Just right now, like, they are just playing really cohesive baseball. And it's tough. It's tough. So I think the Rangers are actually playing pretty good ball. And I mentioned like being a little bit skeptical, a little bit nervous. I thought this series, when you watch the games, they were playing good baseball. And I think if they played that level of that caliber of baseball against most of the other teams in Major League Baseball, they're taking 2 out of 3. So I think they're going to head into the next series and win it. That's my prediction on the Rangers.
This is our 3rd weekend roundup, and it's my 3rd time talking about Andy Pages again.
Yeah.
2nd in F4 in Major League Baseball right now. He just makes the Dodgers so unfair because Kyle Tucker's not playing all that great. Who cares? Mookie Betts hurt. Who cares? When you got Teoscar hitting homers, when you got Muncy hitting 3 homers in a game, when you got Andy Pages, I mean, we're talking about the 6, 7, 8 in their lineup, 5, 6, 7. Say whatever you want because now Mookie's hurt, so they got to move him up in the lineup, and deservedly so. I mean, these guys, like, I get what you mean. Like, they will eventually cool off, but this looks to me like the best Dodgers team that they've had.
Yes,
and they've won 2 straight World Series. Like, this is an unfair team because they also got a borderline ace coming up every start. I mean, Shohei pitches like once every 8 days.
Yeah.
Like, Glass now looks great. I mean, he didn't even have the best start in this, but he still struck out 7, right? It's even Sheehan gave him a quality start. Nice bounce back for him. Tanner Scott looks so good. This isn't fair. This isn't
not
fair. All right, my last series, White Sox versus Royals. I apologize on game 3. We recorded before the end of it, but I can recap games 1 and 2, and they're very easy to recap because the Royals pitching shut the freaking door. Royals win 2-0 in game 1. This was the Chris Bubich show. Man, he was good. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 11 Ks, 17 whiffs. Bobby Witt Jr. had an RBI double. Carter Jensen hit his 4th homer of the year. Carter Jensen, ever since he overslept, is the best hitter on earth.
Yeah.
Game 2, Royals went 2-0 again. This time, it was Michael Wacha's turn to dominate, the most underrated player in all of baseball. Yes, underrated is not the next upcoming thing. It's not your favorite young player. It's not Jose Ramirez. It's not Nico Horner. They get plenty of love. Michael Wacha has a better ERA than Freddie Peralta over the last 4 seasons. 8 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 7 punchies, ERA down to 0.43 to start. Michael Garcia is also awesome. He homered, then he had a sac fly, and that was that. So when I stopped, or when we pressed the record button, the White Sox were winning 6-5 in the 7th. I was watching it a little bit. I saw Tanner Murray hit a home run. Colson Montgomery hit a home run. What ended up happening? White Sox, they won 6-5. There you go. They shut it down. So opened with a Grant Taylor, 2 perfect innings, best reliever in baseball, Grant Taylor. Grant Taylor opens the game. It's a guaranteed White Sox dub. The other ones can't speak to those because nobody in the White Sox lineup is really hitting all that well. But they did today, and they got the win over the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, look at the top of the lineup. There's a lot of 100 batting averages at the top.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But
OPS is under 700.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is they're going to have Noah Schultz coming up making his debut. Our guy, Elijah Evans, broke that, which was really cool. Schultz is going to be very fun to watch. One of the best pitching prospects in baseball when he's right and then when he's healthy, and he has looked right and healthy. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be an outing that I think you're going to want to watch. He's going to make the debut on Tuesday against the Rays. And then Sam Antonacci, some rumors that he's going to come up at some point next week. I believe it. I think he's going to come up sooner rather than later. Very talented bat at their AAA level. They need it. So I think we could see Antonacci up there soon too. Yeah, this offense is just Like they can run into homers. So when they're hot, no, they can get hot there and put up some runs. But when they're cold, oh man. And I think you got to give the Royals pitching staff, a lot of credit here. Where this is a team that we used to say like, oh, what's the pitching going to look like? And for the last couple of years now, it's just the pitching has been fantastic. And it has been really their strength, which is just not what I expected 3-4 years ago. Bubic seems all the way back and healthy. You just hope that he can stay healthy. That's the biggest thing with their arms. It's just when healthy. If you guarantee me health of Reagans, of Bubic, of Waka, I feel great about this team. It's just we get these stretches where they're all shoving, and then one or two drop. And then one comes back, but then the other is still hurt. And then one comes back, and then another guy gets hurt. Like when they're all healthy, this team is nasty. And I know the offense hasn't fully gotten going here yet. It's going to. I really do believe that. You mentioned Jensen's heated up. Salvi's not going to hit 160. Vinny's not going to hit 160. This team's going to be better. And I think they're going to, if they keep throwing the ball like this, they're going to be a team to watch.
Absolutely. And Bobby Witt Jr. made a couple of nice plays this weekend too. I couldn't believe, I don't know if you saw our interview with Hembo. He's talking about Bobby Witt Jr. being a good defender, not a great defender. And Jack and I audibly gasped. But he makes some good points, some defensive metrics like defensive runs saved. He was more just comparing him to Connor Griffin, but that's a conversation for another time. So those are my 10 series. Arm's going to finish with his 5, including the one for Sunday Night Baseball. But Podcast Pete, before we get to it, how about a whoosh? You're up.
Marlins Tigers. All Tigers this series. Game 1, Keider Montero and the Tigers bullpen shut out the Marlins. Montero goes 6 innings of shutout ball, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts. Javi Baez had a solo shot. Chris Paddock was better for the Marlins after bouncing back from a bad start. 6 innings and 2-run ball, but it didn't matter because the Marlins didn't score. Kenley Jansen picked up his 478th save, tying Lee Smith for 3rd all-time. Also, Kevin McGonigal. People were pushing back on me saying, can this guy stick it short? Yes, he can stick it short. Look at this play. In the hole, backhand, throws it across the diamond and gets Augustine Ramirez, who can move a little bit down the line. He can play shortstop. He can play a pretty good third as well. 2-0 Tigers in game 1. Game 2, Tigers dominate from the jump with 2 runs in the first and a 3-run blast from Riley Green in the third. He had 4 RBIs on the day. Casey Mize limited the Marlins to 1 run, tossing 5 2/3 of 6-hit ball with 5 strikeouts. Tigers win 6-1. And then game 3, Sandy Alcantara versus Tarek Skubal has all the billings to be a blockbuster, but Sandy didn't really hold up his end of the bargain. The Tigers burned Sandy with the long ball. Dylan Dingler launched a 3-run homer in the first. Kevin McGonigal hit his first career homer in the 5th, and Kerry Carpenter added a 2-run shot. Big day for McGonigal. He had 3 hits, reached base 4 times. Skubal held up his end of the bargain. He went 6 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Tigers sweep. The Marlins looked anemic offensively, and the Tigers, big series for them to start to get going here.
Huge.
If Keider Montero and Chris and Casey Mize are throwing the ball pretty well, Skubal is going to throw well. They needed a little bit more outside of Skubal, and Fromber is going to be Fromber. I think the righties you wanted to see a little bit more from, and you got that in this series.
I've talked a lot about Cole Keith with the Tigers, but a player that I think I misranked on my catcher list, and we were talking about it, Dylan Dingler's the real deal. This guy, I figured he'd be a good defender, but I was curious. Is the bat going to continue to play? Because we've seen guys have good starts, right? He's a little bit older. But man, the power is real. He puts up consistently good ABs. And because he's so good defensively, if he hits at all, he's valuable. And if he hits like this, he's one of the best catchers in baseball. So I'm already trying to right my wrongs on Dylan Dingler.
Sure, get ahead of him.
Guy's a really, really good player.
Yeah, I agree. He's a very athletic catcher. He was playing center field at Ohio State before making that shift. And you can see that behind the dish. You can see the athleticism. And the Marlins, man, they've been really good against right-handed pitching. So it seemed like a good matchup for them, and it just wasn't. I know losing Griffin, Conine, who helps in that productive side of things against right-handed pitching, really sucks. Glad he'll be back in 6 to 8 weeks. I think people thought it would be worse than that. So the Marlins need to figure it out. The good news is they're going to get Stowers back. So that's a guy that can kind of get that offense going as he started his rehab assignment, and we'll go from there. But I think this is going to be the series that kind of gets the Tigers going here, and I think we're going to see a lot better baseball moving forward because the bats are starting to wake up a good bit, and I think the arms are starting to throw the ball better.
It's still a good Tigers team. I guess I still have the same worries though, like beyond Skubal and Fromber, who's going to step up in this rotation, right? Mize has not been off to that great of a start. They're certainly missing Reese Olson, but it's still a good lineup. And the bullpen can be shaky at times. McKinley, tying Lee Smith was great. It's a good team. I need to see a lot more beyond this series for me to put them truly in like the pantheon of the true contenders in the American League. I still think that maybe they can win the division. I still think they're a pretty good team. Great series. I'm still walking a tightrope with them. I don't know how else to explain. I'm just not fully bought in yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear if Montero keeps doing this and Fromber settles in and Mize builds off this last good start.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ifs, but those are all very possible things that could really catapult this team.
Agreed.
Giants O's. This was a series I was very fascinated by for both teams going into it. So, and I don't really think I left with any more answers, but still a really fun series. Game 1, Willie Adames led the way for the Giants offense with a solo homer and an RBI double. Jung-Hoo Lee also homered, and Casey Schmidt had a 3-hit day. Landon Rupp, I always struggle with his name. Landon Rupp allowed just 1 earned run over 6 innings. Gunnar Henderson homered in the 9th to trim a 5-run deficit, but that was it. 6-3 Giants. They take game 1. Game 2 was tied 2-2 until the 4th inning, where the Orioles added 2 runs, then another in the 7th on a Jeremiah Jackson homer, and another in the 8th. Orioles win 6-2. Jeremiah Jackson had a day. This guy keeps hitting. I was not expecting him to continue it from last year, and he's continuing it. He went 3 for 4 with a homer, a double, and 2 RBIs. Logan Webb takes the L, giving up 4 earned in 6 innings pitched. It's been a little bit shaky in the early going this year. Game 3, Orioles strike first with a Samuel Basallo 2-run home run in the 1st. Pete Alonso added 2 more on a double in the 5th, and the Orioles would take it 6-2. Cade Povich turned in a gem. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. With some injuries to that rotation, Povich is a guy that would be really nice for them if he could step it up and continue this. That was a great sign. But ultimately, Orioles take 2 out of 3. Giants continue to not look great out of the gate here.
The Povich start was great because the Orioles need a guy to step up in the rotation, right? You got Trevor Rogers, who's been great, but Bradish has gotten off to a little bit of a rough start. They've seen a couple of injuries. Also, it should be noted that Ryan Mountcastle, unfortunately, fractured a bone in his foot.
That poor guy. He just has such bad luck.
Adley got hurt too, which brings me to my biggest takeaway. And it's not even really a takeaway about this series outside of that piss missile that Basallo hit on Sunday to the opposite way. I mean, he just flashes this talent. And you're like, oh my God, this guy is going to hit.
It's just a matter of when. You just don't know. You don't know if he's going to do it.
So it might be now, right? Because with Adley hurt, he's going to get some real run at catcher. Let's see. But again, I don't want to judge him because he's 21 years old, but I do want to see it. Like I'm not going to have heavy expectations, but he finally gets some real run.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to watch what that looks like.
Me too. And look, he just needs to hold his own. The superstar Samuel Basallo, that might come next year. It might come this year.
It might come when he's 23, like Jordan Walker. Like he's so young that we have to move expectations. He's not just going to be amazing early.
Yeah, but he could be. So, I think they don't need him to be. They just need him to be a solid catcher who can run into some homers and continue to develop. And I think that's very possible. But the defensive side of things is going to be fun to monitor for him too, because he was always a tough assessment there.
You don't want to see some Maverick Hanley catching?
Good. Give me more Basallo, please.
I don't know. I feel like he's earned it.
You ready for the most surprising series?
I am. Let's do
weekend?
it. Let's do it.
Nationals Brewers. Game 1. Nationals use a huge 9th inning to win 7-3. They put up 4 runs. Trevor McGill didn't get an out, and he allowed 4 earned. James Wood went off with 4 hits, 2 of which doubles. Game 2. Foster Griffin versus Kyle Harrison results in a tighter game than even though neither were really laser focused, like locked in, racking up Ks, both were effective. No score until the 5th inning when James Wood drove in 2 with another double. And that was all they needed. But the score landed at 3-1 Nats. Foster Griffin allows 1 hit in 5 1/3 scoreless, scattering 3 walks and only striking out 1. Scary moment with Kyle Harrison. Like, seems like he was okay though and was able to get out of it unscathed, but thought he might have been hurt there. I think it was him tagging first base, right? Where it looked like he may have hurt his knee.
He was covering first base. It was a ground ball to Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez playing first. That sentence already is a disaster. And
he
then
went to
Gary,
cover, throw was bad, right?
Yeah.
He tried to stick his leg out and his knee buckled, and thank goodness he's not hurt badly.
It wasn't even. Yes, but also Gary just chucks it at Kyle Harrison from 6 feet away, like doesn't toss it.
Yeah.
Just actually like throws it at his leg. It trips up Kyle Harrison, and it was a scary moment. We were talking in the Discord where it was like, did Gary Sanchez just snipe Kyle Harrison? What was that? That's just what happens when you have a DH/catcher and you just put him at first base and pray. Plays like these can happen, and this was just a terrible play all the way around. And I'm so glad that Kyle Harrison came back in, finished the start, looked good. Obviously, the Brewers didn't have any success really, but at least he's healthy because he's off to a great start.
Dodged a bullet. Foster Griffin, 5 1/3 scoreless with 1 strikeout and 3 walks, but
coming over from the MPB, right? Signed a 1-year deal at the very least. Could be a nice trade chip for the Nationals.
They'll be buyers.
True.
They'll be buyers because in game 3, completely different ball game, but still works in the favor of the Nats. Ball game that saw 5 homers and 4 were by the Brewers, but they still came up short. Brendan Woodruff was great. He allowed just 1 earned run in 6 innings with 6 strikeouts and 1 walk, but the Brewers bullpen gave it up again. The Nationals scored 3 in the 7th, 2 more in the 8th, and held on to an 8-6 win. James Wood homered and stole home. Dalen Lyles, CJ Abrams, and Jacob Young each had multi-hit games. And for the first time in 20 years, the Nationals swept the Brewers in Milwaukee. Look, they're playing. I think they're going to run into some trouble late in the year, and the pitching will probably rear its head a little bit. But this is a team that is young. The offense has progressed really nicely, and I think they're starting to settle in. You're seeing players start to take next steps forward or just get more experience, but they're playing with that youthful energy of they could be down 5. They're never out of a game. They don't care that they're in Milwaukee. They don't care that the Brewers are one of the best bullpens historically, like every single year. They don't care, and they just continue to never be out of games and swing it well. And if they get half-decent outings on the pitching side, they're going to win more games than people expect. But at the very least, and we said this before the season, that this would be a fun team for Nationals fans to watch at the very least. And you're getting that right now.
Them and the Cardinals are a blast because, again, to your point about a young team playing with nothing to lose, both of them share that. And this is a big season for Washington because you're really trying to figure out who's a part of your young core of the future. And it's too early to really stamp anybody, but they're playing good baseball. They're playing together, and it's just a fun team. Like, there's not much else to say. Like, do I think the Nationals are going to go on a real run this year? No, to be completely honest with you, I saw a Nationals team playing with nothing to lose last season in the first half. And then they had the most disastrous of a second half that I've ever seen. So they got to avoid that. But right now, when a Nationals fan turns on the TV, they ain't expecting a loss. And if they do lose, it's going to be a fun ride to get there. And more of the times it's ending up in wins. Sweeping the Brewers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Great I love series. It. And even a light version of this would be the Rockies in the way they're playing ball. So you might as well add to that side of things as well.
This is unfortunate from TMC Sports Ball. Add insult to injury to literal injury. Yelich injured in the series finale and might be out for a while. Right now, the Brewers offense is almost lifeless outside of Turang and Contreras. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, hamstring injury, and it sounds like it might be a pretty bad one. Also, there's the play at first base.
Look at Gary, what are you doing?
So lucky it wasn't worse. But yeah, for the Brewers, like, I wouldn't sound the alarms when the bullpen's not performing because the bullpen's going to be good. But just to see to have that rough series and then have it be compounded by the fact that you have a Yelich injury here too, that's rough. But they'll be okay. You just hope Yelich isn't out for too long because again, he's been a guy that's Seems like he's back in the upswing, and we're seeing more productive. Not yet MVP Yelich, but better than the hangover from that Yelich that was hurt and just not performing. And for this team to be the potential threat to the Dodgers, they're one of the best threats out of the National League for them. They're going to need everybody. So hopefully Yelich doesn't miss too much time.
Agreed.
Rockies Padres game 1 stayed tied at 1-1 until the 10th inning. Also, this series was absurd. Stayed 1-1 until the 10th inning when both teams scored a run in the 11th to send it to the 12th, setting the stage for a Xander Bogaerts walk-off grand slam, the first by a Padre since Manny Machado in August of 2020, which was the week that the Slam Diego moniker was coined by Don Orsillo, which of course you hear all the time in our intro. Randy Vasquez sharp again. Yes, 7 hits, but he scattered them. 5 2/3, 1 run, no walks, 8 Ks for the Padres.
I went from thinking he's a bum and he's going to get, he's just like the regression's going to hit him like a truck. Watching him this season, I'm like, I've done a full 180. I'm a huge Randy Vasquez fan now.
He's just a different pitcher.
He's a dude. I love him.
Game 2 was scoreless until the 5th when both Gavin Sheets and Luis Campusano homered for the Padres. The Rockies climbed into it, tying the game at 2 in the 8th inning, but the stage was set for more drama in San Diego. This time it was Gavin Sheets' turn, launching a 3-run walk-off homer. Both starters were great. Tomoyuki Shigano, 2 earned over 6 innings with no free passes and 3 Ks. Shout out Walker Buehler. He was spectacular. 6 shutty, 3 hits, no walks, 4 Ks. Probably one of his best starts dating back to maybe over a year. And it was really cool to see him throw the ball that way. Hope it continues for Walker. Know he's working hard for it. Mason Miller picked up another save. He has struck out 14 of his last 15 batters he has faced with 1 ground out in between, just baseball stat. You'll get all different Mason Miller stats on X from us. His FIP on the season is negative 1.65. I've never seen that before.
Holy
Game
shit.
3, negative 1.65. That's insane.
That's
so
not
more
even,
than a run and a half below 0.
You couldn't do that in MLB The Show on rookie mode with sliders turned all the way up on your pitches.
You can't.
Like, you're not doing that.
You can't. We're in the midst of seeing something we've never seen before. And if Mason Miller, I don't think he's going to have a 0 ERA, but there's going to be a reliever Cy Young conversation, I think, this year. And I do think it's going to continue.
And everyone talks about his 101 mile an hour fastball for good reason, right? He's averaging 101.4 miles an hour. I recorded a Mason Miller video, I think on Saturday. And at the time, these were the numbers. They're probably even better now. He's thrown 48 sliders this year. 38 of them have resulted in a swing and miss.
Yeah, because you got to cheat for that fastball, and you're just dead.
The slider, like, he could throw only fastballs and dominate, but then he has this demon slider. You're done. This is the most dominant I've seen a closer since Prime Mariano.
And right now it's more dominant. So
it's
you have to do it obviously a lot longer and a lot more consistent, but
yes,
that's the craziest part. Game 3, Rockies got up 4-zip with homers, 2 home runs by Mickey Moniak, both in the first and the third inning, along with an Edward Julian homer. But the Padres would then score 9 unanswered. Yeah. Manny Machado and Ramon Laureano homered. Fernando Tatis Jr. had 3 hits. Jackson Merrill drove in 3. And Fernando Tatis played second base, by the way. I don't know if any of us were expecting that, but Tatis played second base. That was fun. And he made a play. He was a shortstop. Should be able to play second base.
Yeah.
Double play as well.
Craig Stammen even came out too, the manager, and he was like, this is something that's been cooking for a while. And they first asked him, and he was like, don't you think it's entertaining? And I was like, no way, you're just doing it as an entertainment thing. But he obviously broke it down. I think they're just trying to get off days for, I think, Cronenworth and Bogarts and stuff. And of course, he can play the infield. It's just, it's so glaring when you see Nick Castellanos out there in right field and Tatis being a platinum glove winner going to second. And it's like, what is this defensive alignment? Yeah. But the Padres got the 2025 Rockies this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And if you pick your spots to do it, and it's just to get guys off their feet, it won't kill you. And I think this was a good spot to do it, right? Game 4, Padres got things going with a run in each of the first 2 innings, but then a Ty France solo shot in the 4th would also put them up 3-0. The Rockies clawed back a bit, but Ramon Laureano distanced the Padres again with a 2-run homer. Bad pitching health luck here. Nick Pivetta was cruising through 3 no-hit innings before leaving the game with an apparent arm injury, and Kyle Freeman was scratched from the start with shoulder discomfort. But Padres pull off the 4-game sweep there. But this is This was competitive ball from the Rockies. Like, this was not the typical Rockies 4-game sweep. This was a really fun series, arguably one of the most fun of the weekend.
This is a good fight. Getting swept in 4 games. I mean, like, yes, I mean, this looked pretty bad. I mean, their bullpen was just awful. They didn't really.
They set the stage perfectly for the walk-offs. They were like the perfect, like, when you're. I'm thinking about the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Like, the other team has to score some. With the Washington, what's the name of the other team? Senators.
No? That sounds right. Or maybe you're thinking of the team Walter Johnson was on in the 1910s. Washington Senators.
The Washington Generals. The
Washington
Generals. Yeah, you want to, like, give the Generals a chance to close the gap a little bit, make it interesting. You don't want to just see them completely run away with it. The Rockies are doing a good job of setting the stage a little bit better by competing a little bit more. Is all I'm saying, and I'm going to give them credit for that, because it was a really fun weekend in baseball in San Diego, and it wouldn't have been as fun if they just 8-zipped them all 4 games.
True. They did score. That's a good point. They did score. That's, yeah, you're right.
Any actionable Padres takeaway?
Not really. I mean, I do like this offense. I mean,
we also kind of got into it in the middle of the
breakdown. Yeah, I thought Randy put together, a bad start for his standards now is scattering hits and getting out of it. Like, he's really earned a ton of my respect. Tatis and Merrill haven't even gotten off to that great of starts, but the offense is still humming. They're ranked 2nd in overall hard hit rate right now in the bullpen. I mean, Jason Adam returning is huge. I mean, if any bullpen didn't need an arm, it would be the Padres, but it'll
especially with Jeremiah
Estrada, going on the IL. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So getting Adam back is big. And then Mason Miller's just like the greatest pitcher I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I made a video of the Leo DeVries trade. Would you do it again? I don't know.
All of a sudden, I clowned him. A lot of people clowned, AJ Preller just for Prellering. And at this point, Mason Miller is so dominant that I don't know if there's a prospect that you could actually, like, other than like Connor Griffin, that where you could just be like, how could he do that? How could he do that? I think Griffin McGonigal, other than that, like, Mason Miller is so good, you can almost justify it now.
Because DeVries is also 19. Yeah. Right. So he's a little far off too. So it's not like you traded a guy on the cusp of making his debut. He's still so far away. So at least right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out, though. He made a debut late this year. We'll see.
Preller might have sent more prospects if you gave him a do-over.
He did. He sent Braden Nett. I think Nett's going to get up there and help the A's a little bit. There's some other arms I think that could have some intrigue there, but it looks like a decent trade all of a sudden for Preller. Hey, you swing for the fences, you're going to hit some home runs, and Preller will hit his homers too. People got to give him credit for that.
Preller has got a little Murakami in him, where the homers are beautiful. But then sometimes we're like, oh, I haven't seen a Murakami highlight in a while. Yeah, he's whiffing. Like,
give him. I think Preller deserves more credit than he gets.
I agree. He's my favorite GM in baseball by far. Do you know how much content he's given us?
Oh, he's the best for us.
I love him. I hope he's the Padres GM for 100 years.
I think he's going to be.
Yeah.
They basically gave him a contract to be, I think. The guy that's also going to be a GM for 100 years, Alex Anthopoulos. So we'll head to Guardians Braves. Game 1, Braves offensive onslaught. They put up 11 runs, headlined by Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, and Michael Harris homers. Dom Smith had a 3-hit day and drove in 2. Guardians bullpen gave up 6 earned. Kind of a weird theme right now. Game 2. All Guardians, though. Much better this time. Parker Messick throws 6 2/3 scoreless, and the bullpen this time put up zeros the rest of the way. J-Ram homered, and according to Podcast B, he has homered against every non-Guardians team now. Daniel Schneemann drove in 2 with a pinch hit single. Guards took it 6-0. And as we get to Sunday Night Baseball today, it looks like it's a pretty decisive here, with the Braves probably taking the series. They're up 9-1 with the 6th inning just now ending. They were all over Tanner Bybee. Went 4 2/3, 11 hits, 8 earned. I'm looking at the box score right now. Dom Smith homered again. That's crazy. And then you just had runs kind of coming in a lot of different ways. Basically, everybody's Ozzy Albies is 3 for 3. Jorge Mateo is 3 for 3. By the way, Mauricio Dubon will not stop hitting. He's 2 for 3 with 2 driven in. What a great trade that was. Kind of a salary dump, and the salary wasn't even that high from the Astros. look, I just recorded an episode with you where I was saying I'm not buying the Braves, and I'm, I might even outright sell. They just DFA'd Martin Perez. That are they going to create a 40 spot? I don't know if that was to create a 40 spot already. I don't think it was. If J.R. Ritchie gets up there and throws away, I think he's capable of. And they keep freaking hitting like this. Like,
I know they're hitting.
I might eat my words. The Mets are still my pick. It is so early in the season, but the Braves are another team. Stay afloat, because then Waldrop, Schwellenbach, obviously Strider back way sooner than that. I have questions what all those guys are going to look like when they come back, but iron's in the fire. It's a good thing. I could be wrong about the Braves, and look, I'm not dying on that hill. I promise you that. This team always finds a way. So I'm still skeptical, ain't dying on the hill. And the last thing is Chris Sale, 6 innings, scattered 8 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Shout out though, Chase DeLauder, 6 swing on Chris Sale, on a Chris Sale slider left on left. And then I know that doesn't matter. They're down 8, but that guy's unreal.
He is unreal. And what's also unreal about the Braves too is they have one of the best offenses in baseball. I think they're top 5 in WRC plus as an offense. And that's with Acuna putting up a 711 OPS, Austin Riley at 583, Mike Yastrzemski at 536. And Ozzie Albies, he is hitting 300, but his OPS is still below 800. Dom Smith, Dubon, Mateo, and then Baldwin and Olsen. Baldwin is Hembo is breaking it down. I mean, the lack of whiff with the amount of damage that he does, he's the truth. I mean,
he's one of my favorite prospects. And then there was, I forget which prospect from this year that Peyton that we compared to like the batted ball data on to him, but it was like one of my favorite prospects this year too. The blend of hit, approach, power, angles. He's going to be good for a while. The Drake Baldwin extension is coming soon. I would bet a lot of money that the Drake Baldwin extension is coming soon from the Braves. You know it. You know that pre-arb extension's coming.
And it's going to be like long too. It's going to be like 11 years
for a catcher. It's going to be the first catcher to ever get that kind of. I'm telling you, I think Braves are going to lock that guy out.
You could get that Will Smith pre-arb extension. Remember the 10 years, 140?
I would do it.
I would do it too. One more. I know the Guardians didn't have the greatest series in the world, but Parker Messick is such a dog.
I did not think he would keep doing it. I think he's going to keep doing it now. I'm sold. I take it back. He's going to outperform his peripherals. It's the Andrew Abbott thing.
Yeah. What sold you? What sold you?
I just that every time you watch now, it's clear that hitters are not comfortable. He escapes jams. It's a slow heart rate. He executes pitches. There's deception built in, and it's the Andrew Abbott thing all over again. I really feel like, so when I watch the guy pitch, I just decided fuck the peripherals.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to fuck the peripherals. Yeah, sometimes you got to throw them out the window and just say, screw him. This guy's jobs. Like Randy Vasquez outperforms him. Now he's a dog. Andrew Abbott has done it for years. Now Andrew Abbott is off to a rougher start, but I think Abbott eventually bounces back.
The crazy part is actually the peripherals last year were good. In the minor leagues, I didn't love the pitch data, but you look at the peripherals, it's like he had a 2.98 FIP last year. He had a 3.15 xFIP. I just look at the pitches and I look at the underlying data pitch by pitch. I'm like, I don't think this guy's going to be that good. And he is. So I'm in.
I think it's the deception, too, that puts him over the top. I mean, it's like this small bowling ball of a man just throwing from this weird slot. Like when I watch Parker Messick hit, it looks like when, guys in the box like see it out of the hand. Well, like they just don't see it. Like the ball is halfway there and they're like, did you even throw a pitch yet? And then it breaks late and you're just like, oh shit.
It's 6 pitches too.
Yeah. I'm all and he's mixing and matching. And this is big for the Guardians because obviously you have Bybee and you have Gavin Williams, but they need guys to step up beyond that. Cantillo has done that. And now with Messick doing it, again, they're going to lose tonight, probably. But you never know with the Guardians. To be perfectly honest, 9-1 in the 7th inning. They're dropping to 9-7, but this is still a good team. Not quite as good as the Twins, but still pretty solid.
Yeah. You got to get it in one more time.
I got to sneak in Twins when I can tell you're on your laptop, just looking at Chase DeLauder data, just salivating.
I was actually looking at the left on base rate and comparing it to Andrew Abbott.
Wow. That's the kind of data you get here on the Just Baseball Show. So they'll do it. Thank you for brilliant producing, Podcast P. Thank you to everybody for joining us here live on YouTube. The best way to support these YouTube live streams, make sure to smash the like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to us after the fact on audio, I did say only if you enjoyed would you leave a 5-star review. Hopefully you did. And if you enjoyed a little bit more, a written review would be very kind. Make sure to go get your Just Baseball merch and join the best baseball group chat in the world, folks. You can find both links in the episode description. For Aram Layton, I'm Peter Apple. I'm not even going to ask Aram if he has any last word because it's late. We got to get to bed. We've done an hour 40. So with that, thank you, everybody.